Hello and welcome to another episode of Sunday Night Mystery. I'm Brett, and tonight we delve into the enigmatic case of Sharon Hoare, a young woman whose promising life in London was tragically cut short. This is a story I wasn't sure I wanted to include, but I felt I owed it to Sharon to feature her tragic case as one of our episodes in the hope it might, in some small way, help to refresh this terrible tragedy and perhaps reignite this decades-old murder in people's minds. I knew Sharon, not well, but I did know her. We both went to the Ridings High School in Winterbourne, South Gloucestershire. We were the class of 1988, and although I hadn't seen her since 3 years earlier, when we both finished school at 16, I'll never forget the shock at reading her story on the front page of the national newspaper. It had a profound effect on me at the time, certainly igniting my interest in unsolved cases. I wanted, in some small way, to help find the justice that these cases deserved, and the best way I could do that seemed to be by simply keeping the stories alive. After leaving school, Sharon completed a secretarial course and later became a typist, but in pursuit of her dream, Sharon went to London to live with a friend in Fulham who was working as an escort. Our story begins in 1991 when this vibrant young woman embarked on a journey from Bristol to London with aspirations of modelling. Her path took a dark turn as she found herself entangled in a world of luxury and secrecy, working as a high-class escort in the heart of West London. Sharon was just 19 years old at the time. She adapted to her new lifestyle, earning significant sums of money through her business. She frequented the most exclusive hotels in the capital, adopting aliases to maintain her anonymity. It's thought she may have earned up to £50,000 over her few months of living in West London. Sharon lived in a luxury flat in Fulham behind Chelsea Football Stadium, which was said to have cost £1,000 a month in rent at the time. But on a fateful night in August 1991, Sharon's world came crashing down when her flatmate returned home at around 3 p.m. on August the 10th to a scene of horror. Sharon lay lifeless on her bedroom floor, a victim of a brutal attack. The police said that they thought she'd been murdered at about 2:30 a.m. It was noted that during the struggle, the handset on her phone had been disturbed and that all subsequent calls made to her number would have met with an engaged tone. Police also noted that whilst it was possible to gain entry to her ground floor flat from outside, there were no signs of a forced entry, and the building had both a system of entry telephones and a permanent security guard patrolled the block. Although there was no sign of a forced entry, evidence pointed to a violent struggle, suggesting Sharon had fought desperately against her assailant. There was £100 left untouched on a side table, meaning that robbery was ruled out. Police have always believed that Sharon was probably killed by a client or someone who knew her. However, despite exhaustive efforts by police investigators, her murder remains unsolved to this day. They traced her final steps and discovered a taxi driver dropped her home at her Brompton Park Crescent flat at 2 a.m. after she'd been turned away from a London hotel. That was the last time Sharon was seen alive. Detectives, led by DS Bob Fenton, launched a massive inquiry into Sharon's death, tracing her final moments and scrutinising every detail of her life in search of answers. DS Fenton said at the time, "She was what you might call a high-class call girl, not walking the streets of London. Most of her work came through hostess agencies. It was revealed that Sharon, known for her red hair but now a blonde, had kept her family in the dark about her profession. She had meticulously crafted a facade of affluence, concealing the darker realities of her existence. As investigators combed through the evidence, they uncovered a web of potential suspects, including Sharon's former boyfriend, John Peacock, who was eventually cleared of any involvement. He said he'd loved her and had warned her about what could happen in her line of work. But the mystery deepened when just 6 days later, another escort, Lucy Christopher, fell victim to a similar attack just a mile away from Sharon's residence. The parallels were striking, leading authorities to believe the crimes were connected. Descriptions of a suspect circulated, depicting a man in his 30s with a pale complexion, dark hair, and a heavy beard. Yet, despite these leads, the perpetrator remained elusive. Meanwhile, Sharon's family grappled with the shocking revelation of her double life. They mourned a daughter whose dreams had been overshadowed by the darkness lurking in the shadows of London streets. Even as the investigation unfolded, casting suspicion on neighbours and acquaintances, the truth remained elusive. Sharon's murder cast a long shadow over those who knew her, leaving unanswered questions and lingering grief. On the 20th of August, 1991, the police arrested Sharon's former boyfriend in Bristol in connection with her murder, but he was later released and eliminated from the investigation. He was a 40-year-old man that Sharon had met while she was working as a secretary in White Ladies Road. Sharon's former boyfriend was later arrested at her funeral on the 31st of October 1991 when he attempted to enter the church against her family's wishes. Her funeral took place at the Grace Evangelical Church in Westerly near Bristol. The former boyfriend had been warned not to attend the funeral and turned up with another man who was also unwelcome. Sharon had been a pupil at Grimsham Green Primary School, but had struggled as she'd been bullied because of her surname. When Sharon was 14, she moved into the Ridings High School in Winterbourne, where she continued to a secretarial course and later became a typist. As we reflect on the life and untimely death of Sharon, we're reminded of the complexities beneath the surface of every individual. Behind the glamour and the allure of city lights lies a world fraught with danger and deception. To me personally, this tragedy is proof that personalities and assumptions are so different to reality. When you read the reports and news articles related to this case, it's easy to form a negative opinion about the lifestyle Sharon was part of, and perhaps it could be difficult for someone looking in to feel a real sense of sadness and empathy for someone who could seem difficult to understand or relate to. I remember Sharon as being quiet and unassuming. She was a nice person, and what happened to her was simply wrong and unfair. Her death has escaped justice for too long. Sharon's murder is probably still out there somewhere. My opinion is worthless in this case. However, I believe that anyone could have found themselves in the position Sharon did. I refuse to believe this is the life she chose without being pushed. I have absolutely no proof to back up my personal opinion that someone convinced Sharon to begin a double life, and that she may have been swept along in a world of pressure and deceit. Sharon should have lived a life, but it was denied to her by this terrible act of violence. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Sunday Night Mystery, another journey into mysteries of the night. I hope they inspire curiosity rather than fear. For in the realm of Sunday Night Mystery, some enigmas defy resolution, leaving us to ponder the shadows of the past. Join us next time for another chilling episode of Sunday Night Mystery. Until then, remember, the truth may be hidden, but as long as we keep the investigation alive, it's never truly lost. Tune in next week as we uncover more tales of darkness lurking within the human soul. I'm Brett, and I'll see you next week on Sunday Night Mystery. Until then, stay curious, stay vigilant, and remember, guard yourself against the darkness that surrounds us all. I'll see you next week on Sunday Night Mystery.